this. I can't do it no more. Why would I even try? Because I can't even pass this test. I can't even do this test, or I can't even run, or I can't even jog. Why would I do that? So that was before me. Now I'm the opposite of everything that I do, and I always tell people I'm the way opposite of the way I am. The reason I say that is because now I'm into fitness. Of course, I got a little bit bigger, but you have to understand that I was into fitness. And if you see my previous posts, I was at 310. I was bigger than this, a lot bigger. And I was at 310, even though I'm more than 300s. But okay, let me go back. I was at 310, almost like what, 20% of muscle, barely. I couldn't lift up many stuff. I was so weak. I was just fat, period, fat. And I got nothing against that at all. Don't get offended in any situation like this. But I'm just saying, like, that was my inspiration. It's just like, you know what? I've always had that dream. I've always had that. I want to get skinny. I want to do this. I want to do that. But I was hoping. I was hoping for everything. I was hoping for. Oh, I want. You know what? One day I get a girlfriend. Oh, you know, one day I'll get skinny. Oh, you know what? Something's gonna happen to me. Is I'm gonna get skinny randomly. Like that was my thoughts. My thoughts was like, okay, one day and one day and one day. I got tired of that one day. You know, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I might end up doing it, even though if I fail, I'll figure it out. I'll get somehow I'll get to my feet. Somehow I'll get to my grind. Somehow I'll get to that mentality. And slowly by slowly, I started getting into that. Started getting into my mojo then. And there's multiple obstacles that I've been through. So one of the first obstacles was for education. I was so limited in education. I wasn't able to talk properly. Right now, I can't even talk that proper either. But I was way worse before. I was born in a bad environment, gang affiliations. Kind of got out of all that stuff. The gang affiliations, the hanging out with the right people, hanging out with the correct people that I should be, and just avoiding myself in risk. And I changed that lifestyle. Nothing against anybody because I was born and raised into that situation. And the good thing that nobody took that personal. Nobody never thought about it like, hey, you know what? You're too good than me. You're too better than me and all that stuff. Maybe some people didn't like it. Some people did. But the ones that they were with me forever until now. They're still helping me out. They're still supporting me in situations. But most of my friends, we lost a lot of contact. It's just because we're grown. We got a family now. So that's that. I got into that. That was my first step of me progressing my life. So I got out to the gang affiliations. I started doing better. Of course, I got some obstacles, maybe drinking and stuff like that as a young kid, and just bad habits as well. So that's something that I got out to get off drinking. Started getting into entrepreneurship around 17 and 18. I started getting into entrepreneurship and learning, understanding how everything works. And not really, didn't know nothing about business, but I kind of knew how to semi-hustle. So I was started hustling. I was not hustling. I wasn't selling drugs, but I was like hustling. I was doing computer repairs. I was doing graphic designings. I was doing music for people. So there was multiple things that everybody knew me from. It's just so many things that everybody knew me from because I was just in the hustle for everything. I was just trying to grind. I'm trying to just survive. And the reason I got to that point too, because I wasn't able to get a job at all. I was so, how can I say it? So negative of everything. And I was so scared of everything. Also, a lot of people didn't take me serious. And that's when I started kind of changing again. So there was a lot of phases, a lot of obstacles that I went through, and I was upset for multiple times. Dealt with depression all my life. Right now, I don't really deal with depression. I'm pretty happy. Everything's good because it's not because I'm living better. It's more of like, okay, I learned how to control those feelings. I learned how to distract myself. I know how to communicate with myself. And one thing I'm gonna tell people about depression, and if you know somebody is in depression, you have to try to help them out because depression is one of the worst things you can ever deal with because it's a mental strength. It's a mental war. It's a mental war. You have to understand that this is not a game. Depression is a very harshful thing. I wish nobody upon this because it's pretty difficult. You know, you have to understand that it's pretty difficult. So that's something that I've dealt with all my life. So I learned that. Started getting to the gym as well. Started getting to the gym, getting fit, feel more healthy, understanding myself, feel more glad, feel more confident, just getting bigger and bigger, and just not bigger as in muscle wise, but more like a focus wise. So that's when I started focusing more into myself, understanding myself, and figured out what I wanted and what not to want. So that was kind of my inspiration, my motivation. I've dealt with a lot of stuff, and I feel like all that negativity that I had in my past, it made me who I am, to inspire and love people and just motivate people. And I've always been a fanatic of learning from other people, because everybody has an experience. You have to stop being so selfish of just saying, you know what, I'm depressed. Feel bad for me. You can't feel like that. You can't be that type of person. You have to understand that selfishness, it comes in many ways, and especially like that. Especially like that. Don't feel like, okay, I feel bad now, I gotta make someone else feel bad. That's called a bully, and that's what I think I've always been. I've always hated it. I dislike that to the most. As a kid, I didn't get bullied, but I had people try to bully me, and of course, I always defended myself. I kind of seen bullying as more like, you never try to defend yourself or in that situation. Some people try to defend themselves, but they can't. In that situation before, was a little bit different. There was just physical fights, and that's it. So that's what I got into, some physical fights. And that's mainly it. That's nothing really bad, but I always try to inspire people, because some people are getting bullied, and you have to understand their problems too, because there's sometimes it's a little bit harsh. You have to understand what's going on. You have to understand the kids. You have to understand your kid. Why is he getting bullied? What was the situation? Try to talk to the parents. Try to figure something out, because some parents don't even care what their sons do, if they try to bully the kids or not. They don't even care, and it's pretty sad, because when I was growing up, a lot of kids that I knew were getting bullied, and of course they would tell their parents, and their parents wouldn't care. So that's kind of like, that got me a little bit more tougher, you know what I mean? So I'll say like, okay, you know what, if maybe their parents won't defend them, I might have to defend myself. And my parents always told me, well, especially my dad always told me, if whatever situation they try to bully you, they try to fight you, defend yourself in any situation, because you have to understand that's you're in that position. You have to defend yourself in any position, and it doesn't matter if you're the right or wrong. You just have to defend yourself. Well, of course, if you're in the wrong, you can't do it, but you have to defend yourself in any position. So that's something that I kind of got into too. So we're gonna talk about marketing and how I started with marketing. I started with marketing as first me and my business partner. We had the cell phone fix. So we were basically the first one that made the business and everything. We were the founders. We made this business. I established all the logos. He established, of course, all the funds, all the inventory and everything. I was more the marketing guy, the IT guy, and just growing the business in my perspective. And I just started experimenting from there. So that was my first experimental, because I knew I was in graphic designing. I like graphic designing. I wasn't able to utilize everything. I didn't know how to utilize everything. So that's when the time came by, and I started noticing like, okay, you know, I'm pretty good at marketing. Okay, I'm pretty good at doing designs. Okay, I'm pretty good at doing this, and I'm pretty good at that. And a lot of people started noticing that you're like, hey, you know what? I seen your post. That's pretty cool. How'd you do that? Or people started getting a lot of attention. So that's when I started getting more curious. Like, okay, so if I can do all this stuff, what else can I do? And that's when I started connecting the dots of everything that I did. And I was like, okay, you know, I can start a marketing agency with this. So let's just start it up, and I made it happen with Wake Up Agency. That's when I started getting my change in mentality too. Like I told you, the wake up is a huge part of my life, because I woke up myself from everything that I had. And that's how I call it the wake up agency, because the agency is a huge, we have a few people to help us and everything. We'll always be working on different projects. So that's something that I've always been a fanatic of. We've been trying to get an agency. I wanted an agency as a kid for so long, and I finally made it. I got the Wake Up Agency. I got a crew with the people. I got videographers. I got editors. I got graphic designers. I got web developers. SEOs, everything you need. We already got it, so we're pretty established in that situation. So that's why we charge so much on our prices. A lot of people think like, okay, just Efren's making all the money, he's keeping all the money. No, we have to. I have to pay the whole team. We have to pay all the team and just make sure that everybody's getting paid and everybody's getting their jobs done. And of course, number one thing for me is always to get the customer happy, get the results what they want, and just specialize in that situation. So that was part of my my journey, basically. And just want to say thank you to everybody who've been checking out this podcast. I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Wake Up Agency is the best where you go. So thank you.